The National Electrical Code, specifically Section 408.37c, addresses the installation of circuit breakers. This section states that circuit breakers shall be listed and installed in accordance with the listing marking. Circuit breakers shall be installed such that the on position is readily accessible to the operator without the use of tools. However, there is an exception. Circuit breakers are permitted to be installed in a position that requires the use of tools to operate if they meet the conditions of 408.37 Con through 408.37c4. It's important to consider what the NEC says regarding screwing circuit breakers in the on position. The NEC does not specifically prohibit the use of circuit breakers that are screwed in the on position if they meet the requirements of 408.37 Con through 408.37c4. To understand this better, let's examine these requirements more closely. Firstly, the circuit breaker must be listed and installed in accordance with the listing marking. This means the breaker has been tested and approved by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, and it must be installed following the manufacturer's instructions. Secondly, the circuit breaker must be readily accessible to the operator without the use of tools, unless it meets the exception requirements. Readily accessible means that the breaker can be reached and operated quickly and easily. Thirdly, the circuit breaker must have an integral handle, and the handle shall be interlocking with the operating mechanism so that it may not be detached from the circuit breaker or opened by other than the operating handle. This ensures that the handle is securely attached to the breaker and cannot be removed or manipulated in a way that could compromise safety. Fourthly, the circuit breaker must be of the multipole or joint trip type and be so marked. This means that if one pole of the breaker trips, all poles trip simultaneously, preventing a single-phase condition. This requirement typically applies to multi-wire branch circuits or circuits supplying three-phase equipment. Section 408.37c4 is the specific code number associated with these requirements. It is crucial to consult the full text of the NEC and any applicable local amendments to ensure full compliance. Screwing a breaker into the on position may seem like a shortcut, but it can create several potential hazards. Firstly, it can bypass the intended safety mechanisms of the breaker, making it less likely to trip in the event of an overcurrent or short circuit. Secondly, it can make it more difficult to quickly de-energize a circuit in an emergency. Thirdly, it can create a false sense of security, leading to complacency and unsafe work practices. Instead of screwing the breaker into the on position, consider the following alternatives. Firstly, identify and correct the underlying cause of the nuisance tripping. This may involve troubleshooting the circuit, repairing or replacing faulty equipment, or adjusting the settings of the breaker. Secondly, install a higher rated breaker, but only if the circuit conductors and equipment are properly sized to handle the increased current. Consult the NEC and other applicable standards to determine the appropriate breaker size. Thirdly, install a time delay breaker, which is designed to tolerate brief overloads without tripping. This type of breaker is often used for motor circuits and other applications where inrush currents are common. Fourthly, improve the ventilation around the breaker panel to prevent overheating. Overheating can cause breakers to trip prematurely. Always prioritize safety and compliance when working with electrical systems. Consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. The NEC provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical installations, including the proper installation and use of circuit breakers. Always refer to the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments to ensure full compliance. Furthermore, consider these points regarding circuit breaker operation and maintenance. Firstly, regular inspection of circuit breakers is crucial. Look for signs of damage, overheating, or corrosion. Replace any breakers that appear to be faulty or damaged. Secondly, proper labeling of circuit breakers is essential for safety and troubleshooting. Clearly label each breaker with the circuit it controls. Thirdly, ensure that circuit breakers are properly sized for the circuits they protect. Oversized breakers can allow excessive current flow, leading to overheating and fire hazards. Undersized breakers can trip unnecessarily, causing inconvenience and disruption. Fourthly, avoid overloading circuits. Overloading can cause breakers to trip frequently and can damage equipment. Be aware of the current draw of all devices connected to a circuit. Fifthly, use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, when working with electrical systems. This may include safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. Sixthly, de-energize circuits before working on them whenever possible. This reduces the risk of electric shock. Seventhly, follow lockout-tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization of circuits during maintenance or repair. Eighthly, be aware of the arc flash hazard. An arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can cause serious injury or death. Use appropriate arc flash protection when working on energized equipment. Ninthly, seek professional training in electrical safety and best practices. This will help you to understand the hazards of electricity and how to work safely. Tenthly, stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and other applicable standards. The electrical code is constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. Furthermore, consider the broader implications of electrical safety in your workplace or home. Firstly, conduct regular safety audits to identify potential hazards. Secondly, implement a comprehensive safety program that includes training, procedures, and equipment. Thirdly, foster a culture of safety where everyone is responsible for preventing accidents. Fourthly, encourage employees to report any safety concerns they may have. Fifthly, investigate all accidents and near misses to determine the root causes and prevent future occurrences. Sixthly, learn about ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs. GFCIs protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults. SIs protect against fires by detecting arc faults. Seventhly, use surge protectors to protect electronic equipment from voltage spikes. Voltage spikes can damage sensitive electronic components. Eighthly, avoid running extension cords across walkways or under rugs. This can create a tripping hazard or a fire hazard. Ninthly, keep electrical panels and equipment clear of obstructions. This allows for easy access in case of an emergency. Tenthly, have your electrical system inspected by a qualified electrician on a regular basis. This can help to identify potential problems before they become serious hazards. In summary, while the NEC does not explicitly prohibit screwing circuit breakers in position under specific, limited conditions, it is generally not recommended. Prioritize safety, compliance with the NEC, and proper troubleshooting to address the underlying causes of circuit breaker tripping. Always consult with a qualified electrician for any electrical work or concerns. They can help ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and standards. The information provided here is not a substitute for professional electrical advice. The requirements for electrical installations can vary depending on the specific application, location, and local codes. Always consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best course of action for your particular situation. Remember to prioritize safety and compliance in all electrical work. Taking shortcuts or ignoring safety precautions can have serious consequences. By following the NEC and other applicable standards, you can help to ensure the safety of yourself, your family, and your colleagues. The NEC Section 408.37c aims to ensure the safety and accessibility of circuit breakers. Understanding its requirements is crucial for electrical professionals and anyone working with electrical systems. It is important to remember that these regulations are in place to minimize risks and prevent accidents. Deviation from these regulations can lead to hazardous situations, including electrical shocks, fires, and equipment damage. In addition to complying with the NEC, it is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for circuit breaker installation and operation. The manufacturer's instructions provide specific guidance on how to properly install and use the breaker, as well as information on its limitations and safety features. Failure to follow the manufacturer's instructions can void the warranty and increase the risk of accidents. It is also important to be aware of any local amendments or regulations that may apply to electrical installations in your area. Local codes may have stricter requirements than the NEC, and it is essential to comply with all applicable regulations. To find out about local codes, contact your local building department or electrical inspector. They can provide you with information on the specific requirements for electrical installations in your area. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility. By following the NEC, the manufacturer's instructions, and local codes, you can help to create a safer environment for yourself and others. Remember to always prioritize safety and compliance when working with electrical systems. If you are unsure about any aspect of electrical work, consult with a qualified electrician.